The Poisoned Escape, a true horror story of guilt, haunting and survival. Tuesday evening in early fall. 2 cups of tea cool on a small Chicago kitchen table. A man talks about plans, money, and a big break that is always almost here. Steam rises, curls, and disappears. The apartment is quiet except for his talking and the wall clock. Then the talking stops. The chair slides back. A heavy thud meets the floor. The clock keeps going, steady and cold. Neighbors later remember the red flash of an ambulance in the hallway. The building super writes down medics on site in a notebook. The police list history of stress in a short report. The hallway clears. The night returns to regular sounds. Pipes, footsteps, someone laughing 2 floors up. At dawn, the blinds are closed. By the weekend, the lease is done. There is a flight out of O'Hare after midnight, with 1 passenger, named Emily, and 1 suitcase, with a red ribbon on the handle. A small sticker on the suitcase reads, "This way up." The bag makes it to New York. So does she. The new apartment in Brooklyn is quiet. The window faces a brick wall with a strip of sky above it. She finds a job at a small ad agency where the lights are warm and the coffee is always a little too strong. She says yes to projects. She answers emails fast. People describe her as calm, kind, and focused. The office badge hangs on a lanyard. She wears it like armor. Dating begins the way a lot of dating begins. Apps, short messages, too many profile photos with sunglasses. The first date is under string lights at a bar with plants on the ceiling. The man is funny, or at least he tries to be. He leans in and asks about her work. For most of the night, everything is normal, the kind of normal everyone wants. Then, in one blink-long moment, something shifts. His face seems to slide, not all of it, just little parts. The mouth droops, the eyes look tired in a way she knows too well. The change is quick, thin as heat over a road. The man keeps talking. She hears nothing. She leaves early, pays for her half, and says she has an early morning. Outside, she breathes like she just ran upstairs. Another date goes the same way. A walk by the water. A cup of coffee in the cold. A smile that looks safe until it doesn't. The same flicker. The same old face trying to sit on a new one. She goes home, sits at her table, and stares at her phone like it might explain things. It does not. Emily's building has a neighbor named Harold. He holds the elevator door. He talks about the weather and the best bagels on the block. He is older, kind on the surface, a little too friendly in the doorway. At first, the small talk is harmless. One night he asks if she wants to grab a drink. Nothing weird, just neighborly. The bar has a brass rail and a baseball game on mute. He tells stories about travel and a marriage that by his version worked for him. She had the career. I kept the home right. We had a system. The sentence lands and stays in the air like a smell. I benefited, he says, smiling at his own words. On the walk home, the hallway suddenly feels narrow. After that night, Emily makes small rules for herself. No late-night drinks with neighbors. No long talks in doorways. No walking down the middle of a hallway when the ends look dark. Simple rules. Not grand, not dramatic. Just rules that keep the day in one piece. Sleep is mixed. Some nights are fine, some are full of pictures that will not stop. She wakes with her heart loud in her own ears. She sees the kitchen table from Chicago, the way you see a place you no longer live, clearer than you want, sharper than it should be. She goes to a therapist in a small office with soft chairs. They talk about how the brain can paste the past onto the present, like a sticker. They talk about how leaving a room is not rude when a room is wrong. The therapist gives her a notebook and says, write 2 lists. What happened then? What is happening now? It sounds too simple. She tries anyway. Work helps. In conference rooms with glass walls and dry erase markers, the past stays outside for a while. She presents ideas. She gets a small promotion. She says no to a drink with a co-worker she doesn't want to see outside the office. The no is gentle. It is also complete. The next day at work is fine. The overlay, the old face arriving in new faces, keeps trying. She learns how to leave kindly and quickly. Thank you for meeting me. I'm going to go. The sentence becomes a tool, not a fight. She pays her part of the bill and steps into the night. The city is big enough to hold her leaving and keep going. One Saturday, Emily meets Harold at the deli by accident. He holds the door, mentions a new sandwich they sell, then tries to turn the small moment into a longer one. We should sit, he says. Catch up. She smiles and says, not today. He tilts his head and says, just 5 minutes. She repeats, not today. The words are simple. He shrugs like it's not a big deal and lets the door go. It swings shut. She carries her bagels home and eats one in silence. The quiet feels like clean air. In her apartment, she keeps the notebook open on the table. She writes rules on a yellow sticky note and puts it on the fridge. Leave any room that asks you to shrink. A no is a full sentence. Do not feed the past after midnight. She laughs a little at the last line. Humor feels like a small light you can carry in your pocket. The phone becomes strange in a new way. One evening she scrolls through photos from a nice day. A sunny bench, 2 paper cups, a city dog wearing a bandana. One picture glitches. The face next to hers blurs, then clears. For 1 second, she thinks she sees the tired eyes from Chicago, the mouth that dropped in the kitchen. She blinks, and the normal photo returns. Just a man smiling, nothing more. She deletes the photos. A picture anyway. Her hands shake, and she presses her palms flat on the table until they stop. The therapist says, brains protect us with old warnings. Sometimes the alarm is louder than the fire. Emily nods. The words are true and heavy at the same time. Dates continue, but they look different now. Daytime, coffee, public places. No dark corners, no back rooms. She tells herself it's okay to leave before she feels trapped. Sometimes she does. Sometimes she stays long enough to learn a new laugh. She writes down good parts, so her brain has proof that not every evening is a test. Harold tries again a week later. He times the elevator and steps in with her. You're hard to catch, he says, smiling. Busy week, she answers. He stands a little too close. She takes a half step back. It is not a big move. It is enough. The elevator doors open. She says, have a good night, and turns toward a door without waiting for his reply. The hallway looks bigger when she walks away. Work sends her to a client 2 hours away by train. The ticket email sits in her inbox with the subject line itinerary. She packs one small bag. The hotel key card is blue. The bed is white. She sleeps. Nothing follows her that night. When she returns, the city greets her with noise and fast feet, and she's glad to hear both. On a sunny Saturday, a block party fills the street with used books and small plants in paper cups. Emily buys 3 paperbacks and a cookbook someone loved before her. Inside the cookbook is a note in looping pen. For days that need a little anchor. She smiles at the idea that a recipe could hold a day in place. On Sunday, she makes soup and puts some in the fridge for Wednesday. On Wednesday, she opens the fridge and finds the soup waiting. It feels like she set a trap for a stress she does not have to feel. The trap works. At night, the city hums. She watches a show at buses, at a chef in another city, people arguing about salt and flame. She does not watch shows about crime or fear. She gives her mind calmer things to hold. Then the quiet shifts. The building's front buzzer rings at 9:07 p.m. She checks the screen by the door. The tiny camera shows only shadow and the edge of a coat. She stands still and does not answer. The buzzer rings again. She says nothing. The buzzer stops. After a minute, her phone lights up with an unknown number. Open up, it's me. One last time. No name, no punctuation. The words float on the screen like they belong to anyone. She places the phone face down and breathes in for 4. Out for 6, the way she practiced. The phone buzzes again and again, then stops. The room is quiet except for the fridge. She waits 10 minutes and then makes tea. The next morning is bright. She runs the long path by the water past the same bench she photographed before. She does not take pictures this time. She looks at the water and lets it move how it wants. Story to be continued.